Welcome to Graveside Walks. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more to come. Thank you. In today's video, we will visit the grave of Maud Gonne and learn a little bit about her fascinating life. Maud Gonne McBride was born in Tongham, Surrey in England on December 21st, 1866. She was the eldest daughter of Captain Thomas Gonne of the 17th Lancers and his wife Edith Frith Gonne. She was an Irish patriot, feminist, actress and a mystic. Her mother died while she was still a child, so her father sent her to be educated by a governess in France. When her father was posted at the Curragh camp, she lived with him in Dublin until his death in 1886. It is while living here she developed an interest in Ireland. On his death and in her early 20s, she became financially independent. It was around this time she met and became influenced by veteran Fenian John O'Leary, who introduced her to the revolutionary nationalist movement. Due to the plight of the people evicted during the land wars, she became a supporter of Irish nationalism and a speaker for the Land League. She was active in her support for Home Rule and in 1916 for the Republic. Gonne had dreams of becoming an actress but contracted tuberculosis, so in the summer of 1887 she went to the French spa town of Royat in the Auvergne to recover. It was in France she would meet Lucien Millevoye, a married journalist with fervid right-wing politics and a supporter of General Boulanger. He was 16 years her senior, and the relationship was both sexually and politically driven. With Boulanger, he would redeem France by regaining Alsace-Lorraine. Her mission was Ireland, and together they would constitute an alliance against the British Empire. Returning to France in 1890, she once again met Lucien. They had a son together named George, but the child died of what was possibly meningitis in August 1891. He was buried in a large memorial chapel, and Gonne was very distraught. She carried this distress for the remainder of her days and asked that a pair of George's baby shoes be buried with her. After baby George's death, the couple separated, but in 1893 in Samo-sur-Seine, at the mausoleum they arranged to meet and then descend the small metal ladder, just 5 or 6 steps, and then next to the sarcophagus of their son where they had sexual intercourse. How do we know this? The evidence comes from poet W.B. Yeats. In his posthumous memoirs, not published until 1972, he wrote that Gonne herself told him the story. Her purpose was to conceive a baby with the same father to whom the soul of George would transmigrate in metempsychosis. Gonne's daughter by Millevoye, Iseult Gonne, was born in August 1894. Iseult was educated in France, and on returning to Ireland, she was referred to as Maud's niece or cousin rather than her daughter. At age 22, she would elope and go on to marry an Irish-Australian, Francis Stewart, who became a writer. She was not acknowledged as her mother's daughter in her will, and in 1954, less than a year after her mother's death, she died from heart disease, aged 59 years. Gonne was introduced to W.B. Yeats in 1889, who fell in love with and became infatuated with her for most, if not the rest of his life, and the heroine of his first play, Kathleen Ní Houlihan, 1892, was modelled after her. She played the title role when the play was first produced at the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. However, Gonne refused Yeats' many marriage proposals. Gonne was attracted to the occultist and spiritualist worlds deeply important to Yeats. She was deeply interested in the possibility of reincarnation. She joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, an occultist organisation with which Yeats had involved himself. Yeats recalled in his memoirs that Gonne would repeatedly ask his circle of friends about the reality of reincarnation. George Russell, a mystic and a writer, assured her that if done correctly, it was indeed possible to recreate a dead child's soul if the parents went about it the right way. In April 1900, Maud wrote an article titled "The Famine Queen" for the United Irishman newspaper on the occasion of a planned visit by Queen Victoria to Ireland. The newspaper was suppressed by the RIC, but the article was republished in US newspapers. Maud Gonne's most notable contribution was to the establishment in April 1900 of Inida na hÉireann, Daughters of Ireland. It was an organisation solely for women. Its agenda was political, social and feminist. It opposed the Irish Parliamentary Party and Home Rule, opting instead for full independence, but supported the Irish Ireland movement, the concepts of self-reliance preached by Sinn Féin, free meals in schools and women's suffrage. In 1901, Maud Gonne embarked on a lecture tour of the United States with Major John McBride, who had organised the Irish Brigade and fought on the side of the Boers in South Africa. A second organisation, the National Council, was formed in 1903 by Gonne and others, including Arthur Griffith. Its purpose was to be a pressure group aiming to increase nationalist representation on local councils. The first annual convention of the National Council was on the 28th of November 1905. This meeting is usually taken as the date as the foundation of the Sinn Féin party. In 1903, Gonne married a fellow revolutionary, Major John McBride. After suffering abuse at the hands of McBride, she legally separated from him in 1906 and gained custody of their son, Sean McBride, who later became Foreign Minister of Ireland and winner of the Nobel Peace Prize. She did not settle in Ireland again until 1917, by which time John McBride had been executed for his part in the rising. After his death, she began using his name again to regain standing in revolutionary circles. Maud Gonne died on April 27, 1953 in Clonskeagh, South Dublin, aged 86 years old.